Realtors. So here's the story. I'm super proud of all of you for being here. Okay? Now you heard me say 8:30 in the morning is a really tough spot to show up. And so today we're going to try to have a little bit of fun with it. Now, my name is this guy. I'm Brandon. That is my whole reason why I do anything. Some people don't like when I say this, but I don't care. That's my wife, Abby. That's my definition of marrying up, okay? Some people find that offensive. I don't care, because I think I outlined my coverage there. Thank you, appreciate that, right? And these are my four awesome little humans. Together, and I say together because I do pay my kids to be on billboards, right? We own and operate a 7-office brokerage throughout northern Minnesota and North Dakota. So I was excited to get a call to come down here with y'all because Orlando is actually where I first fell in love with real estate. Back in 2004. So while I think my bio says officially like 10 or 13 years, it's been 20. But I was unlicensed for a period of time, okay? So that's a whole different thing. Anybody know Celebration? Yeah, that's where I fell in love. 2004, I bought my first townhome in Celebration, Florida as a buy-hold strategy, right? For $249,900. Can't do that today, because I'm nosy like that. So anyway, this is me. There is a slight update to the deck. It's very, very minor. You can take pictures. I don't care. I'm going to give you a QR code at the end you can scan, so you can go right to my website and download it if you want. I'll even give the updated deck to the team here. Sound like a plan? Now, my number one objective for you today is, like, I promise you, if you leave and you got nothing of value, stand in the back corner with me or I'll meet you outside and we'll have a one-on-one conversation until I gave you something of value. Deal? Yeah. Okay. You're willing to give your time here. That is not lost on me. You're willing to get up, right? Wait for 30 minutes in the coffee line, because that's always a rough go. Thankfully, I still got here in time. But that's my commitment to you. If you're going to show up for me, I'm going to show up for you the best that I can. Sound like a plan? Okay, and anybody who wants to just look down at their phone the whole time, I understand, right? We're in real estate, that's what we do. It's okay. So, now, first thing I want to point out, how do you guys remember DuckTales? Yeah, right? So, the cool part of artificial intelligence is when you say, hey, give me Scrooge McDuck, this is what it generates. Okay, only 3 of us thought that was really cool, but that's totally fine. So, today we want to talk about side hustles, right? How many of you noticed the market's down? That's when you know it's really bad, when nobody raises their hand like, oh boy, okay. So here's the deal. Market's down, right? Anybody know what's the Florida market down year over year?
Local and 7% sales price.
Local meaning what? Down 7%?
Southwest Florida.
Southwest Florida's down 7%. Somebody give me another market.
Gainesville's down about 7%.
Gainesville's down about 7%. Somebody give me another market. Are y'all from those 2 markets? No? St. John's is up, okay. Up, are you there too? Okay, good.
Sales or units or competition?
Overall market, yeah. Usually tracking it by volume, units kind of depends on what it is. Now, the last couple of years, volume has increased pretty significantly, unit counts down. So nationally speaking, we're about 14 to 18% down. Right, so that's national numbers, NAR gives us those stats, and that's what we work from. So I have about 70 agents on my team. I call ourselves a team, but really we're independent people, so don't get confused, you team members, right? But when we talk about that, we notice, all right, so for 14 to 18% down nationally, some of our markets are down 20%. We've had to get creative, right, so that people can still feed their families. If I go back and I tell you, these are the people that I care about most, you better believe that every single person in here, and I'm sure all of you have your own group of humans that you feel responsible for, right? Now, I'm not against part-time agents. Some people are. Is it something I advocate for? Not really. But do we have to be adapt and flexible, and do we have to make changes in order to actually survive? Yeah, we do. And so I don't think there's anything wrong with exploring some opportunities inside of the space you already have a ton of knowledge on. Real estate. So that's what I want to talk to you about today. Now, if you did a preview of the slide deck, I asked the team here and I said, hey, what do you guys want? You want like a 100 level course, a 2, a 3, a 4? And they said, give us the 100 level course. And I said, okay, cool, 100 level course coming your way. So some of this may seem really basic to you, and that's good. Hopefully, we can have a conversation. Anybody who's doing side hustles, chime in, right? We can be a little bit more collaborative today. We don't have to be so, one-way communication, because that's not my preferred method anyway. So So why do you need a side hustle? A couple things to consider. Diversifying your income. Who likes multiple revenue streams? Yeah, good. You guys are smart. I like that. The smart people show up at 8:30. Market resistant, right? We like to build stuff that is not so economically based. Okay, several of you went, yes, yes we do. Okay, good, we're on the same page. We like to talk about income growth because believe it or not, while we are not necessarily all driven by money, we all drive because of money. See, that's an automobile joke for those of you in the back room. Thank you, I appreciate that. Motorcycles too, right? Snowmobiles in the north, but you know, whatever we're gonna do. We talk about wealth creation too, right? Generational impact and generational wealth, which is a thing that's actually dying. Oh, come on in, y'all. I got room right in the front row. Or in the fourth row, because I'm too scared. I totally get it. Oh, are you gonna talk her into it? Who just learned who the leader of this group was? Anybody watch that? Yeah, right? Okay. It's so fun when people watch it. Okay. And then lastly, we talk about impact, right? So the generational wealth piece is a dying trend across the US, right? So we're losing some of that ability to hand down wealth, right? One of my favorite ways to do this, and this actually isn't in here by the way, but talk about, I like to interject this anytime I talk to realtors because you guys are super smart. How many of you have a self-directed IRA? Oh, y'all, I'm so proud of you. How many have that self-directed IRA that owns real property? You guys, okay, so if all y'all don't know, find somebody who raised their hand and talk to them, okay? Self-directed IRAs that hold real property is one of the best ways to grow wealth and a generational impact. You can avoid gains, you can avoid tax, death on benefits, and all sorts of fun stuff. It's a huge potential for you to build wealth and create lasting wealth across your generations. So, these are a couple of the reasons why we talk about why you might need a side hustle. But do you need one? Well, maybe, because commission income can be really hard right now, right? You get people who, in down markets, it's always a race to the bottom, right? Sellers are going to be calling 3-4 different people, and oftentimes they're like, well, the market is going to dictate right now, the seller's market, that will probably sell if we price it right. Well, that's shifting, you know, praise the Lord, but right now that's one of the things that we're doing, and so it can be hard, right? That race to the bottom, so that where you maybe once had revenue might be dropping off a little bit. Again, we talk about, you know, diversification across all markets, right? Not necessarily really, really good markets or really, really bad markets, or kind of the middle of the road markets like where we are right now. And then, of course, side hustles, in theory, should augment your income. These are not hobbies, folks, okay? Your hobby can suck as much income as your significant other is willing to allow, right? I don't care how much money you put into your hobbies. I do care how much you put into your side hustle. Now, I will say side hustles is kind of that buzzword that everybody likes to talk about, but the bottom line is, how do we get you a little bit more income on the side, right? How do we generate some of that thing to build? You ready to look at some examples?
Yeah.
Yes. Let's do it. Oh, sorry. Sometimes you create a slide deck and then you forget what you put in it. Anybody doing one currently? Anybody have a side hustle? What are you doing? Notary, like remote closings, going to places? Yeah. Mobile home park. Woo, girl, look at that. One of the best wealth investment tools you can actually get right now. Highest rate of return, right? Yeah.
I am not making any money. I just.
So you have a hobby, is what I just heard.
I just finished and got my mortgage license.
Okay, added ancillary services, yeah. Did you have your answer?
Yeah, home watch.
Home watch.
And it's a stream of new customers too.
Yeah, and a great add-on to potential residential customers, right? Yeah.
I have a business that offers electric, internet, gas, Wi-Fi, home security, identity theft. So it goes to all my clients.
As an ancillary service, I love it, yeah.
I manage the properties for my own business.
Okay, property management, that's what we're gonna talk about.
I'm energy rater.
Energy rater.
Yes, I do energy calculations and bill calculations for the construction.
Nice, okay, energy audits, that's the term that we use in our market, we call energy rater. Very cool, yeah.
Vacation rental.
Vacation rental, we're gonna talk a little bit about that, yeah.
I sell high-dollar plastic horses. I didn't hear.
Girl, now that's a hustle right there, high dollar plastic horses. How many of you are hustling high dollar plastic horses right now?
I cleared 6 figures in the height of COVID, and I would usually add about 20 to 30 grand to my income per year.
Girl, I love it. Hey, do you guys know what a one clap is? I do this with my soccer boys, right? We're gonna clap 1, 2, 3. That's killer. Love it. Who else has got one? Yeah.
certified life and business coach.
Certified life and business coach, good. When you can't do, teach, right? I'm just kidding, yeah.
And on that line, real estate school and property management.
Yeah, good.
I'm a licensed financial advisor.
Ooh, financial advisor, nice hat on.
Faith-based book publisher.
Faith-based book publisher, love it. Right, so you already heard a bunch of okay, that's my favorite one, okay? High dollar plastic horses. I'm gonna use that one from now on, just for the record, okay? So I appreciate that. But you already heard a bunch of really good ideas, right? Some are right in line with the real estate niche, some of them are beyond, right? I say niche, by the way, not niche, just because niche sounds cooler and it makes me feel fancy. So that's part of the reason we start looking at why do you need one? Well, maybe you want to augment that income, maybe you want to do something different. If you can clear another 20, 30 grand a year, that's easy, right? 6 figures in COVID, not bad. I don't know many realtors that did 6 figures, So, super cool. Yes, that's awesome. All right. So, leveraging your skills. Let's talk about specifically. So, I want to be really clear today. We're talking about in the lane, right? In the lane of real estate. What are we going to do and how are we going to do it? First one I want to talk about is an easy one, which several of you already talked about, property management, right? How do we make revenue on property management? Well, there's two models really. One says upon leasing and services, so fee-based, right? Or a commission-based, which is usually a percentage of total rent collected. Pretty simple, right? Now, the cool thing about property management, there is roughly about a 15% profit margin on most PM companies. It's not a lot. But as you can build and scale, the cool thing is a lot of what you do in property management, you can outsource. There's a lot of VAs, virtual assistants, you can do a lot of that without actually having to do almost any of the work. Then, right now there's a projected growth rate of about 8%. And now, a lot of this stuff, like I said, I'm going to kind of cruise through because the objective today was just to get your brain stirring, not to deep dive into one. Okay, so just hang on with me. But so property management in and of itself can tend to be one of the first real big add-ons. And you guys in the Orlando area, the Florida market, similar to me where I am, we have a lot of vacation people, a lot of second home people, right? So this is where a lot of these type services come in and become a really easy value add and not a lot of extra. It can also become a really nice source for potential listings, right? It's a whole new lead generation tool if you use it well, and not in a sleazy kind of way, but in like I'm bringing value kind of way. If that makes sense. Anybody currently doing this? I know we have a couple. Yeah. Do you guys make money doing it? Okay, everybody nodded their head before me, so that's good. Okay. You never know. Again, hobby versus a hustle. I get it. This is an easy one. Now, you can use your real estate knowledge. Do you know which photos look really good on MLS and which ones don't? Right. So you can use that to your advantage. You can go online and you can take $300, $400 courses that are going to completely guide you through the process on how do you take really good photos, how do you use HDR, which cameras do you buy, which videography pieces do you use and then outsource to have somebody splice it together. Right? Like you don't have to be the expert, you just have to know enough to go in and do the right thing to get the raw data, and then you can send it out to make it look really, really pretty. It's an option. I'm not saying you have to, I'm just saying it's an option. Plus it's got some cool write-offs for you for, cool equipment. These ones are really nice. Once you get the equipment though, you guys, the profit margin can be on the minimum 50, like minimum 50%. How many of you outsource your photos and videos right now? Right? How many of you then send them to a third-party vendor like Box Brownie or somebody for virtual staging and, clear skies and all that kind of stuff, right? So you can do all of that, right? You just have to go get the actual content. What's really fun about this is, so in the summertime, now because videography and photography has become such a passion for a lot of people, especially the alpha generation, what I've done is gone to our local community college or our tech school, and we've picked up an intern for the summer. And guess what? They're willing to usually work for pretty cheap, and as long as they can go get the raw data. Now as a broker owner, we charge back a discounted rate, but then we actually sell it to people outside of our brokerage to go do this exact same thing. And then we just use a third-party vendor in India to actually edit them all, put them together, and do some video promotion stuff. So this has been a really easy way for us to augment our income as a brokerage. But the growth rate on this is really tiny. Like really, really tiny. So this one, while you can't expect the market to make it for you, you have to make it, okay? So we talk about that growth rate perspective, you guys. There's one way that says, hey, the demand is going to grow, so as long as you're here, you'll likely get some revenue. Versus one of these is that you're going to have to kind of pound the pavement a little bit to The good thing for where we sit currently is you already have a network of people that need this service, right? So it's a really easy thing to add on and potentially build out. So while the growth rate may not be in high demand, you have enough of a basis to actually do something of meaning. Does that make sense to y'all? Yeah? Okay, cool. So REI, this would be another really fun one. It stands for Real Estate Investing. Okay, how many of y'all are doing that? Good, proud of you all. Thank you so very much. Real estate investing is probably one of my personal favorite ways. It's the first way that anytime we're doing coaching clients or we're working with new agents, is one of the first things we talk about, right? Like, how do you build wealth in a traditionally kind of warlike atmosphere known as real estate, right? Like, we go out every day, we hunt, right? We eat what we kill, but let's diversify the income streams a little bit and build some wealth in that same process. And investing in real estate is a really easy way to do that. Standard margins are usually maxed out about 20%, like standard. You get into some, really weird flipping deals or, wholesaling or something like that, you can clear 20, right? But I'm talking just your standard, I'm gonna go buy something, you're doing a ground lease, a triple net lease thing, you're looking for a 7 to 10% cap return. Like, all of that is pretty basic. 20% is usually the max. You can get more, but it's pretty basic. There's a projected growth rate of about 8% on this one, and that's because a lot of the boomers are starting to liquidate their portfolios. Not a bad thing. Like, boomers in the room, I'm not coming at you, I'm just saying. Like, many people are like, I just don't want to deal with this thing anymore, right? Yeah?
When you say real estate investing, are you saying like broad between the difference of like flipping and renting, like all of that grouped into one, or is this more just towards one section of investing?
Yeah, that's a great question.
That's a great question. So the question was, is there a specific niche, I'm going to summarize my plastic horse friend, that says, is it a specific niche of real estate investing or just the generality, correct? Yeah, so this is the generality. I'm going to dive into a couple of ways more specific that you can do that, but let's say you want to go buy a duplex, right? Okay. Well, you're going to short-term one side, vacation one side, or you're going to do, just straight 12-month long tenant leases, whatever you're going to do, you would hope, that you would take that property and put it in a space where you're actually going to generate anywhere between 10 to 20% of a cash return on a pure profit basis. That would be the hope, right? Now, some people are like, but I'm not getting a 10 to 20% cash return. Well, I'm not talking cash return, right? I'm talking a total return, which is how you take into effect not only the tax ramifications, interest write-off, tax gains, like all those kind of things that come into it. It's far beyond just the cash that shows up in your bank account. Some people really like to operate on a CRR, right? The return on cash, and that's fine. Like, you can totally do that, I don't care. My age and my demographic, I don't really care about the cash on cash return, as long as I'm profitable and I can lower my tax ramifications at the end of the year, because in Minnesota, they really like income tax. That's really what I'm chasing, right? Different states, different markets, you're gonna chase different metrics, and each investor is gonna have their own criteria. Like, I got one guy who says, I don't care, I'll buy anything as long as it's a 10% cap. Right? Cap is a capitalization rate, right? Rate of income based on the rate of the value. So that's fine. And so I know if I find a 10% deal, I go get there, right? What's really fun, if you look in the commercial space right now, you'll see a lot of the cap rates are starting to climb because everybody's dropping prices, right? So anybody doing like high-end triple net lease, ground lease, class A to B tenants, right, multi-unit stuff, you're gonna notice that those cap rates and memorandums are starting to recirculate at higher cap rates because they're dropping them, right? Because either hedge funds have to liquidate them, it's time for renewal, right? Somebody's got to renew the rate on the mortgage or whatever else is going on, and people are getting hungry to get rid of the assets. They'd rather take the income and move on than try to figure out how to refinance and do the whole thing and start all over again. Good thing rates are coming down, but anyway, so as a broad spectrum, to answer the question, apparently I went on a rabbit trail, and I'm sorry, my friend. We having fun yet?
Yes.
Cool, let's do another one. When you can't do, coach and teach, right? As the old adage says, which is pretty much all I do in my life now, so I think that says something about how good of a realtor I am. But this is also a growing market too. Coaching and consulting, traditional profit margins are anywhere between 30%, depending on what you want to do, okay? Now this is usually, there's low cost, but you have to get the people in there. This is one of the fastest growing markets in the world right now, is life coaches, career coaches, marriage coaches, real property management coaching. I mean, like, you name it, there is a niche for a specific coach in a market, right? Part of that is due to the complete disruption of the higher education system, right? How many people have a higher education degree? Keep your hand up if you're using your higher level degree. Wow, that's pretty good. Okay. Not traditional. As a millennial, I'm going to tell you, most of my people are not using one inside of that space. My degree is in management information systems.
Sweet.
Yeah. Not using it at all, I'm just going to tell you. Okay? However, it did do a lot of great things. It gave me a lot of value in understanding what we're doing in accounting and all that other boring stuff that I have to do in my job. But because of the way higher ed has changed, and so many people are taking classes online these days, right? Not only through higher ed institutions, but also just niche things. Think about all the social influencers that you follow or that you maybe like, how many of them offer a course, right? I remember my wife, not too long ago, she took a course on decluttering our home. I don't know if you remember, I have 4 kids, right? Like decluttering my home doesn't really feel like an option, okay? So when we talk about that, it was kind of a neat thing though, because she started to look through the space and said, well, hey, here's what we should do. She had a course, she had a program, she had all the things that she needed to do. And I was like, oh. Yeah, she took a little couple nuggets from it, like, and we had a good conversation. So like this is a huge space, and because of the demand of where people are going, and COVID, because how many people started a new hobby in COVID? 2 of us, that's totally cool. Sourdough baking was my favorite one. I don't know if it was that a thing down here. Did y'all like start baking sourdough bread? Yeah, right? Okay, so like that was one of my favorites because next thing you knew, I was just getting like sourdough loaves of bread that would show up at my door, and it was awesome. Still happening, which I don't really understand, but I'm not going to turn it away. So when we say that, like all of these things started to come up. So when you get a growth rate of about 50+%, this is a market that you can start to look at. And now this could be real estate specific. I have some agents that I work with that are doing courses on like first-time buyers. How many times do you say the same thing in the same spiel to first-time buyers? Well, maybe you could record it and sell it for $9.99 as an online course. Maybe you could do group coaching, right? Take away the barrier and allow somebody to sit in their living room with their significant other and talk about buying their first house together. You know, there's some creative ways that you can start to look at how do you take the knowledge you already have and put it in there. Well, I'm really great at helping seniors transition, right? Okay, cool. What does that look like? Right? Can you build a course